Hey everybody, so I want to hop on here and do a video about why people are not able to identify that they're going through abuse. Excuse me, my son a little loud, that game. But yeah, so I'm gonna identify 2 ways why people are not able to realize that they are going through abuse. So if you can, please like and subscribe to my channel. I have so much more to come for this channel and so much more things to give to the public that I think will be beneficial to all of you. So to jump into the video and, my message that I came to deliver, I believe one of the reasons why people are unable to identify that they're going through abuse is because of the way that they were raised. Yeah, I know a lot of us, it pretty much, don't make sense. But if you think back, I know for me, and it was just a moment for me that happened to pop in my spirit not too long ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I had already made note to make a video like this. However, this wasn't presented to me before I made the video. So, however, the way you were raised, I remember growing up and my guardian, the person who raised me, used to talk to me. And it was like bitch do this or bitch do that, or some different form of verbal abuse, something that wasn't right. But I remember as a little girl feeling like, okay, why does she talk to me like this? Like, that's not right. Why would she call me that? Like, I was feeling down and sad in the inside, but of course I was a kid, so I didn't say anything. I done as I was told, or I just pretty much like rubbed it off. Hold on a second. I'm trying to lock my door so my kids won't come in. Okay, so yeah, I pretty much just, rubbed it off. But I always had that feeling like this wasn't right. Like, why would she talk to me like that? Why would she say that? You don't talk to a child like that, even though I was a child, but I was afraid. And of course, I didn't say anything because I was a child. But also, I remember older siblings, cousins, different family members that experienced domestic abuse from individuals. So I was brought up in an environment where I experienced this. And like many of you all, whether, not saying taking the credit from a parent being a parent or a guardian being a guardian, but sometimes as children, some children, like, they just witness things that they probably shouldn't have at such a young age. So for me, I did witness things that I shouldn't have, or been, put to things like when it comes to verbal abuse, like I shouldn't have been talked to that way, so on and so forth. So moving on, I attracted people of those likings later on in my life only because I felt as if they weren't doing anything wrong. It was what I was already used to. It was something that I had already been through, something I was raised off of. So I thought it was the correct way, because as a child, when you're raised by someone, they're your teacher, whether it's your biological parent or someone else. Your parents are your first teachers. So therefore, a lot of the things that we experience in life, goes based off the way we were raised. And because I was raised being spoken to in a negative way, because I was raised around people that and siblings that experience physical abuse hands on, I just felt like it wasn't, it was something I was used to. And it can also go into play where you feel like, okay, those things are not right. A person shouldn't do that. A person shouldn't say that. But at the same time, when you're used to something, 9 times out of 10, you may see yourself run into that in your own life. And not necessarily will everyone go through a whole replay, because some things hurt people so much that they're just like, I'm not going to go through that. I seen my mama go through that, or I seen my grandmother go through that, or whatever. So that's a no-go for me. But for others like myself, it's just like, okay, well, auntie did it. Cousin went through it. It wasn't no problem, So, yeah, that happened for me. So, for number one, it's the way, one of the reasons people don't believe that they're going through abuse is based off the way that they were raised. So, therefore, if you're raised a certain way, you may think that everything is okay because grandmother did it, mama did it, daddy did it, cousin went through it, friend went through it, or whatever, they made it through. So, we good. This what happens, this life. But truth is, no, it's not. It's not. And for me, I knew it wasn't, but the fact that I went through it, at first it was just like, okay, it's normal. But as I began to grow and I began to learn and I began to come into my own person and turn into my own woman, I was able to realize, okay, no, this is not how a man's supposed to treat a woman. This is not how a friend's supposed to treat a friend. This is not how I supposed to treat a friend, and so on and so forth. The second way I think people are unable to identify that they're in abuse is when they go through a different form of abuse than what they was used to. So it can either be you were raised being verbally abused. So you knew the signs and everything of someone who, is a verbal abuser. So you're just like, I'm not going to deal with this when I get older. I'm not going to take this, blah, blah, blah. So, you're looking for those signs, and anybody that produced those signs, you like, no, you got to go. I'm not going to deal with you, whether you, a male companion or a friend. And then vice versa for like physical abuse, it's the same. Like if you was physically abused by someone, it's just like, okay, I'm not going to go through that. Somebody, for me, it was like, I remember being physically abused. Like, ain't no man putting their hands on me. Nope. I put my hands on them first before they put their hands on me. And I'm not saying that's right, but that's the mind frame. Like, we may think and we're looking for those signs, and we're just like, if they do that, that's a deal breaker. Like, I'm not going through that. So on and so forth. So your mind is so clouded up with the ways that you previously went through abuse that you're not even thinking is more than one way. More than one way. Well, should I say more than one form of abuse. Like it just don't come in one form. So when you're focused on trying to protect yourself from one thing, your mind is clouded for when the next thing come along, because we all go through life and you just never know how life will hit you. But when the next thing come along, you're unable to identify it. And I have a story to go along with this one. I had a friend who was married. I was married. My friend had been married quite a longer time than I was. And she was going through a lot within her marriage. And not only was it affecting her, but it was affecting her children as well. And she used me as an outlet, somebody to call, somebody to vent to, or whatever. And I remember her calling me. She was like, he said this and he said that and he did this and he did that to the kids. And I mean, like, I'm not trying to go into specifics because, you know, I don't want nobody to watch my video and be like, oh, you put out of my business. But this friend called and she confided in me and she told me all of these things. And I remember like being on the phone with her, listening to her cry, listening to her say like the things that she was going through and the things that her husband were saying and doing to her. And I'm just like, girl, that's verbal abuse. I will not deal with that. Why are you going through that? No, you need to do this. You need to do that. Like, you need to get your kids in a safe place. You shouldn't be going through that. Like, if that was me, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. No, don't no man talk to a woman like that. You know, I was going on and on and on. But I was there for her as a friend, whether it was listening, giving advice, or whatever. At the time, I was married, as I stated. My marriage was good. So I thought. Like, my marriage was good, but it came to, like, of course, like many relationships, you have those moments where you have disagreements or ups and downs, whatever you may call them, a bump on the head, whatever. And, you know, I was blocking that out. But when my friend called and my friend was going through, I was there for my friend. I gave her all the advice that I thought that a friend should give, all of the best advice. Like, no, you need to leave him. You're a strong woman. You can do this. You can do that. No man is supposed to treat you that way, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, the friend actually was able to, you know, get through the situation, was able to leave her abuser, was able to identify what she was going through. But more and more, as she kept telling me stories in different situations that she was going through with her husband, I was walking her through it. But it came to a point where her situations began to sound similar to mine. But what did I do? I kept helping her. I kept being a friend. I kept giving her the best advice that I could because I felt like she deserved better. But I pushed all of mine to the back burner. So saying that to say, the second form of not knowing that you're going through abuse is because you are so used to abuse. So now my friend, she got out of her thing. But as I said, in my mind, those similarities of what I was going through was still in my head, was still replaying in my head. And I didn't want to believe it. And it took me 4, maybe 5 years. And I sat and I was like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe that I'm going through what I'm going through. I'm tired of this. I had not told anybody because I was afraid of what people may say. I was afraid of people judging me. I was afraid and I was feeling, what is the word? Ashamed of myself. Because how do you go through abuse one time to go through it again and then not even know? Like, I felt low to the ground. But it came to a point where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay in this current situation, feeling down, feeling low, upset with yourself, or you going to admit that you're going through abuse again for a second time and you're gonna tackle it head on? And for me, I realized I was going through abuse, and I did walk away. But however, at that time I felt so low, so weak. But you always have to remember that there is a God, and when you're going through stuff, it's kind of hard to, you know, I always pray, I always thank God for a new day or whatever, but when you're going through things, it's always kind of hard to remember. But it took for me to remember what my friend was going through. Not to say, oh, she was going through the same thing, so I shouldn't feel bad. No, God was preparing me to be able to accept the situation that I was in for what it was. He was preparing me to be able to walk away. I, you know, help my friend through the situation to the best that I can. You know, giving her all the advice and telling her this and telling her that or whatnot, that when it came time for me to finally make a decision, I just felt like, wow, I done been with this man almost 10 years. I done been married to this man. I don't know, you know, what's what. I felt like very empty. But once I started feeling so bad about myself, like just thinking like, I just can't believe this. Like, how dumb could you be? Like, you already went through abuse and you go through abuse for a second time. Like, you should have known. And it took for me to look back on that situation with my friends who understand, like, you're not in this alone. God seen this before it was coming. He was already trying to prepare you to be able to identify what you was going through and let you know that you can get through it. Why? Because not only have you told your friend, not only do you have a sound mind and an intelligent mind to know that what you're experiencing is not right, but you will move forward. So it took me a time, and I believe, yeah, I was so caught up into, because my first experience with domestic violence was physical abuse. After I got out of that, I'm like, nope, ain't no other man hitting me, they ain't touching me. Any signs of sounding like how the former abuser sounded and I thought they was gonna swing, I was swinging first. Nope, that's not gonna go. Like, I built myself so much looking for those signs, saying these are not the signs that I wanted to see in a man. These are not the signs I want to see in a person. If they presented these signs, then I'm walking away. And because this person did not present these signs, I went through domestic violence and abuse in a different form, which was verbal. So it was hard for me to identify it in the beginning. But thank God that I was able to identify it. Thank God that I still have my voice. Thank God that I'm still me and able to share my experiences with everyone. So I'm going to end the video here because I feel like I'm just going. But if you know any other ways or any other forms of abuse that you'll like to share, please leave them below in the comments. If I have said anything that you can relate to, or if you just like the video overall, please like the video or subscribe to my channel. I hope this video touched and helped someone in some way, shape, or form. If you are going through abuse, please know, regardless of what type, is not okay, it's not acceptable. But for me, I can say, if you're watching anything that I post, I love you right where you are, whether you're still with the abuser or not. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just here to share my experiences and hope and pray that I'm able to help people walk away and know for themselves before anybody else that abuse is not okay. So if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and stay tuned because I have a lot more to come. Have a good one.